Okay, I want to explain this campaign I just drafted. We sent 256 emails, got 3 opportunities, but every single one of those opportunities was booked in. So it was one book call per about 85 contacted, which is really good. I actually drafted this whole thing on my Twitter, so go check out my Twitter, Levi K. Welch. And I didn't use any personalization, no clay tables, nothing. It was just good targeting. Like I just found a good list to target, and I just used a little bit of leverage in targeting that list, and it performed quite well. So the only reason this list was so small is because there's not many TikTok shop agencies I could find on Apollo, and I was just using keyword search. It doesn't really matter. But anyways, 256 leads, 3 meetings booked is very good. So we're gonna go into the scripting. The only leverage I used is a PS. This has been working really well for TikTok agencies recently. Other than that, the scripting was literally just these one-liners that I keep on using that just keep on working, so I'm not really changing it. Hey, first name, if I could, or not sure if company name really needs this, but I could book you 10 to 15 new sales calls per month. Do you think that's worth a chat? Now, this works so well just because like sales calls for a B2B business is very valuable, especially like a medium to high ticket B2B business. It's really valuable. So it just keeps on working. I just keep on using a script that's very similar to this. So yeah, you could probably steal this if you're targeting B2B businesses with lead generation and you're doing sales calls. And I have no issue with that because I'm booking more than enough meetings from these campaigns. But the reason that this is working, and this translates to strategy that you can use for a lot of your campaigns in any industry, any niche. You want to find, you want to look for new angles, okay? And that's going to be how you position your offer, how you frame your offer, and the people you're targeting that to. This one performed especially well because I had good targeting and I used the little bit of leverage that I had from that targeting. So a lot of the time, you don't really need AI enrichment and different like clay table stuff. If you just find a niche list, and maybe instead of putting time into enrichment, you just put time into scraping a bunch of different sub niche lists that are only 500,000 people. But if you find a niche list and you can find something that only that niche has, if you just leverage whatever that little thing is, it might just be one word that has a very high level of personalization. For example, if you're targeting some sort of software company, or say you're targeting some sort of large company and you can solve a very specific pain point in their operations side, the fact that you know what that pain point is already makes them feel like you've done your research and that you're at least valuable to be talking to, like you're worthwhile. It definitely it will increase your reply rates. Like you'll see more people saying no just because they feel obligated to reply to you because they feel like there's at least a little bit of research that you've done. So if you have the time, if your campaigns are underperforming, because I mean a lot of the time, right? You might drop the campaign and then feel like you have to wait a couple days to see how it's doing, and then you spend a little bit more time drafting another campaign. But if you have more time to just be spending drafting campaigns and you want to just spend a bunch of time into learning and getting better at cold email, as I've been doing for the past while now, look into niche targeting lists. So you want to leverage something that you have over other people. Like what's your unique selling proposition? And you may just be a digital marketing agency targeting like local contractors or brands or something. But you can still, there's always some sort of unique selling proposition that you can create, that you can find, that you can make, and you need to leverage that. That's what's going to be the best thing to split test, and that's going to be the best thing to try to find, right? It's like how you're framing your offer and your unique selling prop. So, for example, some of these different unique selling propositions could be you're targeting people in your local area. Now you're unique because out of all these digital marketing agencies, there's only a few that are in Fort Worth, Texas, or wherever you are. Another unique selling prop might be just starting off and you need some case studies, you'll do it for free. And that's valuable. If you haven't delivered for enough people and you don't have any case studies, you might offer to do it for free. And sometimes it's a bit of a too good to be true offer, but I found if you can position it as no to low risk, it's really good. So like pay per result is amazing. And if you don't have any clients and you're gonna get your first clients, pay per result is beautiful because they feel like it's no risk for them. And it's just like offering your service for free, even better, essentially. Another one that I was just talking about is you can solve a unique problem. So if you have a really niche service, these are the ones that do really good on cold email, is if you can solve a really unique pain point, and it can't just be like a pain point that you think they might care about a little bit. Like it has to be super, super blistering, hairy, gross, annoying, oily, like just disgusting pain point. If you can find one of those, and it will probably be difficult to find, your campaign is going to do insane. And then another one, and this is kind of what this campaign was, is just if you can get an absurd or insanely good result, like if you're doing way better than other agencies, honestly, like I mean, this campaign, it's not even like an absurd result. 10 to 15 sales calls is like, yeah, makes sense. But it's still very helpful for a business, like very helpful. And for this campaign, I just added a little bit of sort of personalization because TikTok Shop Agency is quite niche. So it feels I've done a little bit of homework. But honestly, I've ran other campaigns where I'm literally just pitching my offer. And because my offer is decent, it gets really good results. And I show this in like all my videos. But a lot of offers are going to be in that decent range, and you want to find unique framing and unique selling propositions that are going to make it stand out. I would recommend your first take of that should be niche targeting. Let's say you target local contractors. You might narrow that down to people who are doing stone tiling or like stone tile floors, okay? That's a niche in local contractors. And if you say, hey, I can get you like 20 more stone tiling leads, that is going to do a lot better than if you say I can get you more contracting leads or whatever, right? Of course, it's going to be better than contracting leads. You want to go deep into this. That's like a base level example, and it might be a marginal difference, but for a lot of industries, you can go very deep into the niche targeting, and that is going to be how you use personalization without having to use all this guy stuff. So if you split test different small lists, I wouldn't do a list like honestly, I knew that I could get some good results with this list because I know that my offer has been doing well. But if you're trying to test a new offer, I wouldn't do a list less than 500 people. That's quite small. But make a ton of 500 to 1,000 people lists and test different niche offering. And each email, the only difference might be a word or two. It might just be the PS line saying we got a case study in this niche versus this niche. But that marginal change will make an insane difference. So definitely looking at that for your campaigns. And just the extra thing I just noticed is look, these follow-ups have been doing like twice as good as my first email. It's been actually been like all my opportunities from the follow-up actually. And that's been the case for a lot of my campaigns. Look, my follow-up is literally just a bump. So um, don't discredit follow-ups. And you might start a campaign that only has like a 1% reply rate. And then after 2 days later, when you do your first bump follow-up, it might bump up to like 4% reply rate. And if you need help with your cold email campaigns, you can DM me on Twitter or Instagram. That's in the bio. If you want me to run your campaign, you can book a call in the description and subscribe.